Hey guys, Jake Does Sports here, back at it with another video. And for the first time in Notre Dame history, we've won a playoff game, folks. Same with the first time in Jake Does Sports history, Notre Dame history, college football history. And that too, in addition to that as well, all of it. Notre Dame beats the Indiana Hoosiers. They beat the soul and will to live out of them, winning 27-17. Don't let the score fool you. This was an absolute bloodbath, an absolute just meltdown of Indiana. I mean, Notre Dame was, they had a stranglehold of Indiana since that 98-yard run by Jeremiah Love, and the Irish just did not look back. They took control. They looked dominant. They looked like the better team. They looked like the more prepared team, a more talented team. I mean, everything. Notre Dame was better than Indiana in every single way. And it was perfect. It was perfect. This is what you needed to do. And Marcus got it done, baby. He got it done. To all the LSU fans sitting there with, an 8-4, 7-5 season, I don't even know because you're so irrelevant. Are you happy? You happy you got Brian Kelly? Because I sure am. I sure am glad he left Notre Dameville and that we brought Marcus in. Because while Marcus is winning playoff games, LSU's winning the Texas Bowl, maybe even losing it. I don't know. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. No one cares you won a Heisman last year. You went 9-3. How is Brian Kelly doing worse than he did at Notre Dame with better recruits at LSU? Oh, the SEC is so good. No, it's not. Sorry for you big SEC homers. The SEC is not that good, okay? It's not that good. Relative to LSU losing that amount of games being by Brian Kelly. Like, what I'm trying to say here is it's not the SEC schedule's fault that Brian Kelly is losing games. It's his fault. It's his fault. That's essentially what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say the SEC is not the best conference. It is. But it's not that good to where Brian Kelly's coach, he suddenly goes, 9-3, 7-5? No. Notre Dame's not a group of 5 school. We just beat Indiana. They were tied for second in the Big Ten. Big Ten, what are you doing? These conferences think they're so good. They really do. They say Notre Dame's scared to play a Big Ten or SEC schedule. They're scared to play an ACC schedule. They're scared to play a Big 12 schedule. Hey, dummy! Do you realize we play a mishmash of all of them? And do you also realize we just beat the second best team in the Big Ten? Indiana's not any good. They're just not. Notre Dame killed them. They're better in every single way. There's not even... You can't even tell me... Oh my gosh, man. These people got me swirling, dude. You can't even tell me that Signetti ties his shoes better than Marcus. I mean, they do nothing better. Nothing. Wild stuff, man. Wild stuff. In terms of... let's go over the game right now. We'll go over the playoff games and preview the next matchup. I'm recording this, actually, well after the game has been played. Well after the line has come out, all that for Georgia and Notre Dame. We'll talk about that game too. I think I'm going to do a separate video for Georgia Notre Dame. So we're strictly going to talk about the Indiana Notre Dame game here. And we're going to talk about the rest of the playoff games. The big narrative being blowouts. And this round proved that it's not a Notre Dame issue. Or it's not... Notre Dame's not the only team that gets blown out in these playoff games. Like, this has been a thing for so long. Even in the national championship games. And how long is it going to take for people to realize that that's just how college football is? Right? That's just how it is. There's more possibility for variance in college football, people. And I hate that people are using this term 12-team playoff. Best 12 teams. Let's talk about the game first, and then we'll get into that whole rant, because I need to talk about that and blow some steam about it, because these people are ruining college football. But anyways, strictly talking about the game. Jeremiah Love looked amazing. Now, I mean, what do you want me to say? The dude's an absolute animal. If he goes off, if Notre Dame wins the game against Georgia, he's going to be the reason. That dude is the best player on our team. It's not even close. The dude has insane speed while still being able to truck, hit stick, jump over, and stiff arm guys. He is quite literally the definition of a complete package. Quite literally the definition. So, yeah, I mean, you can tell me whatever you want about Georgia's running back room and how they're running back you. Notre Dame has the best back on the field when that game will be played. I have no doubt. I mean, he went off. He tore through the Indiana defense. And the big question mark between these two teams was what was going to break and bend. Indiana's great run defense that has been analytically sound all year, or Notre Dame's amazing run offense. And Notre Dame ran the ball down Indiana's throat, and there was nothing they could do about it. That's what I said in the preview video. Pound it down their throats. Just run, run, run. Just lean on them. Get an early lead and lean on them. And there's nothing they could do. Indiana was lost. They were confused. Curtis Rourke was scared. I mean, they just did not look like a playoff team that game. And people are going to say because Indiana didn't bring their A game, Notre Dame's just the better team. You match those two teams up 10 times. Notre Dame's winning 7, 8, 9 of them. Easily. In my opinion. So, say what you want. You can tell me Notre Dame sucks. They're no good. They shouldn't be in the playoffs, even though we won the first round playoff game. You can say all that to me all you want. But, yeah, I mean, Notre Dame's defense absolutely dominated. I really like the secondary. I honestly think that our secondary is better than our defensive line. But our defensive line has still been amazing this year. And the fact that it has gone through the amount of injuries it has and is still held up is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And this is what sucks, is that Riley Mills is going to be out, our big captain, number 99. And that is a massive concern, in my opinion, for this Notre Dame team going into the Georgia game. And we're going to talk about that. Sorry. We're going to talk about that. I am concerned about that, though, going into this Georgia game. I really am. So we'll go over all that. We'll go over what the keys to win for Notre Dame. But Notre Dame gets it done over Indiana really easily, honestly. I was not stressing for a lot of this game. Really, the first drive was a major stressor. The first two drives were. It really seemed like Notre Dame just gave the ball up and Indiana was driving down the field to score a touchdown. And Rourke throws a massive interception, a terrible throw. And it was all Notre Dame from there. The game was over once that run happened. I mean, Indiana scored 3 points in this game. Let's be so for real right now. Indiana scored 3 points this game. They scored 14 points off our backups playing prevent defense. Backups playing prevent defense. It's not cope. Internet, it is not cope when Notre Dame fans said that they blew out Indiana. That is true. Notre Dame could have finished that game 27-3 if they wanted to. They could have. They realistically could have. And I'm not going to get on the rant about the whole prevent defense thing. I think if you play your defense straight up, it's better than a prevent defense. No one's ever going to listen to me about that. I've dealt with prevent defenses my whole life. Notre Dame and Buffalo alike. I'm not getting into it. Whatever, man. That's a whole nother can of worms. But Like, they recover an onside kick, too. It's like, dude, the game is over. Like, it's not even, it doesn't matter. And, I mean, it's like, in the playoffs, it doesn't matter your score, you're moving on. And it doesn't matter what people think. So, Notre Dame impressed me mightily. I'm so happy. Just generally speaking, I'm so happy for this program. This channel, that's a milestone for this channel. You know what I mean? Seeing a Notre Dame playoff win. I mean, I have been doing these videos, I don't know how many years now. A lot of years. Go back to my old videos. I was squeaking. I mean, I think I've been doing this since 2019. I'm serious, dude. I mean, what? 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 6 years. And Notre Dame finally wins a playoff game. You can tell me Indiana's trash. They're no good. They're terrible. Notre Dame won a playoff game. They did. No one will ever take that away from me. And I'm so grateful for that. But on to bigger and better things. And that is why I love Marcus Freeman, man. This dude is focused on the next game. He's not thinking about how great he is and how awesome he is for beating Indiana, how he's the best coach. He's on in the next game. This dude does not stop working. Let's go. Fire me up. Let's go, Irish. But yeah, talking about this whole playoff structure thing and people getting pissed off because of the whole, like, best 12 teams. Like, it is just, oh my God, it is infuriating. These fans are going to ruin college football. And I heard a new structure is, like, being thought up of for, like, 14 teams. 2 auto buys for Big 12, ACC, and then 3 auto bids for the SEC and Big 10. That will ruin college football. That, I'm telling you, that expansion and that I'm sorry, guys. I'm just stressed out about this because I'm serious. If they do that, they're taking one step closer to becoming the NFL. And that is the point of no return, in my opinion. You can do auto bids. You can do auto bids for the conference winners. And it works because they do it in college basketball as well. It just makes sense. You reward the best team in the conference by giving them an auto bid. And you leave the rest up to the committee. The rest of those teams will be ranked. The highest ranked get in. What you do need to do is get rid of the auto buys. Now, people forget what an auto buy is versus an auto bid. An auto buy is giving a team a buy automatically, which is what happened to Boise State and Arizona State. Those teams are not going to receive buys, but they are the 3 and 4 seeds because they won their conferences. They were the 3rd and 4th highest ranked conference champions. What I think should happen is Arizona State and Boise State should be in the field, but they shouldn't get auto buys. They should automatically be in the field for winning their conference championship. They should not be given a bye automatically. This keeps the auto bid structure, making conferences happy while still maintaining that subjectivity and rewarding teams for having good seasons. You're seeing this play out. Oregon has had an unbelievable year, the only undefeated team in college football, including Group of 5. And they're in the Group of 4. They've played a hard schedule, beaten good teams, gone undefeated, beating Ohio State. That's their biggest win. And now they have to play Ohio State. They have to play Ohio State now. That is their reward for their incredible season. Well, Penn State is playing Boise State in the second round. It just does not make sense. It does not make sense that way. Penn State lost to Oregon, and they have an easier road than Oregon. That should never happen, and it wouldn't under the structure I'm proposing, and many are as well. But when you add the multiple teams getting in from a conference, I mean, what are we doing, dude? You're basically the NFL at that point. I mean, the committee has nothing to decide. Why even rank the teams in the first place? You just focus on conference standings all year. It's boring. It's boring. I swear, man, if they do that, I'm going to be so livid. And then the whole thing with this best 12 teams, there is no best 12. We need to get that out of our heads. That does not exist. You can't prove to me Bama is one of the best 12 teams. You just cannot. I agree with you that on Bama's best day, they could beat almost anyone in the country, yeah. But the reality is, Bama didn't do that for a quarter of the season. For honestly half of the season. They won some of those games, but then they lost. They got blown out by Oklahoma. You don't deserve to be in. Stop crying when you lose 25% of your games. Gosh dang. Like, just don't give me that. It's one thing with Florida State, and Florida State did get screwed. I'm going to say it again. Florida State got screwed. Even if Bama would have put up a better fight than Michigan, Florida State went undefeated. They did not lose a single game on their schedule and won their conference in a Power 5 league. They did not deserve to be left out, and they used a BS excuse. They used a BS excuse by saying that Jordan Travis was injured. Gunnar Stockton is injured for Georgia. This dude has never started a game. It doesn't matter. Georgia is still in. I know they won their conference, but let's be for real right now. Georgia would be in with 3 losses regardless. And why? Because they're Georgia and they're from the SEC. And that is just true. That I can't, no one else can tell me otherwise on that. You're not going to convince me. But this isn't an SEC bias thing. And I've seen SEC fans saying the same thing as me about Bama. When you disregard the schedule and just look at what matchups would be more favorable, you're ruining the sport that way. You're ruining the sport. You are devaluing the regular season. Why not just have a March Madness bracket at the beginning of the season then, saying this team goes up against this team all the way down for whatever, 128 teams, and you just play the dang games. Like, that's just not, it's not, like, that is the stupidest idea ever, right? And if you tell anyone that, they're going to say, yeah, that's dumb. But the more you say stuff like that about Bama, who's lost a quarter of their games to teams like Vandy, Oklahoma, it's not even like they lost to good teams. It is not even like that. Tennessee's the best team they lost to. They got road graded. I mean, they got skull drug and ran off the field by Ohio State. You're telling me that team should be in the playoffs? I don't care if they would have beaten Penn State. I don't care if they would have beaten Notre Dame, which they wouldn't have. Just letting you know now, they would not have. No matter how mad that makes you, I'm not going to change my stance on that, and you can't prove me otherwise. You just can't, because you lost 3 games. Sorry, you're not making the playoff. Sorry, South Carolina, you're hot at the end of the year. Yeah, you lost to Bama and Ole Miss. You lost 3 games by halfway through the season. You're not, sorry. Ole Miss, you choked against Kentucky, whose only SEC win is you. Sorry, you're not making it. And Miami is self-explanatory. They're not going to let Miami in at 10-2 over an 11-2 SMU who played in the conference title. It's just not going to happen. They're from the same league as well. That's apples to apples. The other scenario is apples to oranges. And if you look at the teams and you actually think about it, it's crazy because people want Bama in so badly that they fail to realize Ole Miss is actually the SEC team that should have, has the best argument. They have better losses, and they have the same amount of losses, obviously. And their mutual win in Georgia, Ole Miss blew them out. Bama barely won. So, take that for what you will. I am so done. I am so tired of this best 12 teams thing. No, I don't care about the best, who you think the best 12 teams are. It's about your schedule, about who you play, how you played, who you beat, who you lost to. The fact is, Alabama, you lost to Vandy and Oklahoma. SMU had one loss all season, and that loss is better than those two losses right there. It's straight facts. They lost by 3 to BYU. So, don't give me it. Just don't even, I don't want to hear it. And if we keep using this best 12 teams thing, it's gonna force these conference commissioners to go to the stupid 2 bids per league thing, which would ruin the sport and make it NFL. These teams are complaining about blowouts, and they're complaining that there aren't enough auto bids. Or they're complaining about the best 12 teams thing, which is going to lead to auto bids. It's like, dude, you might as well just watch the NFL. And I don't mind the NFL, but college is way better. It's way better. The subjectivity makes it so good. It just does. There's no other sport like it in terms of that. And you want to sacrifice that because you disagree with a committee because they didn't put a certain team in that you think would have done better in that round 1 matchup. Like, let's use an NFL for an analogy, right? What if let's take the, I don't know, say the Steelers just absolutely demolish, road grade the Broncos in the first round, if they play in the wild card. And, Bengals are finishing the year hot. They're finishing the year really hot. Joe Burrow, probably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. The whole narrative with him is that he's gotten screwed over because his offense is amazing. No one else has given him any help. What if people in the NFL started saying, we should have just let the Bengals in? They would have played better against the Steelers. Like, no one's buying that, and everyone's going to say you're an idiot. But for some reason, in college, it works? No! You're still an idiot! You don't know what you're saying, and you just look dumb. So, that's the example for you. I mean, the Bengals, let's say the Bengals finish with a worse record than the, the Broncos, which possible, we'll see. I mean, I think they're playing each other this Saturday. But my response would just be, the Broncos finished with a better record. Like, they just did. And I know people are going to say, oh, it's apples to apples in the NFL. It's apples to oranges in college football. But, dude, like, you have to use the resumes at some point. You can't weight the SEC's value so heavily that these teams can go 8-4, 9-3, and just make the playoffs over teams that have had incredible runs, like SMU. Yeah, they got blown out by Penn State. They still deserve to be there. Are you going to tell me, what, does Tennessee not deserve to be there? Because they lost by the widest margin of any team. And that right there shows the flaw in your argument. I am so glad Ohio State beat the crap out of Tennessee. As much as I hate Ohio State, that was great for college football because it shut up a lot of people that said the SEC teams should have gotten in over these other teams. I mean, Tennessee got blown off the field. What, Tennessee shouldn't have been there? No, they should have. They just got blown out. You play the games for a reason. They were the lower seed and they lost. What do you want? Same with Indiana. They should have been there. They lost. Clemson got the auto bye. They actually played the closest game of anyone. So take it for what you will. I don't know. I'll see you guys next time. This was a long video on Jake Does Sports. Next time will be the Georgia preview. I'll see you guys. Peace.